Welcome to the Imperium Forex daily video. Before we begin, it should be noted that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you very much for joining me. Well, to begin with, the silver price action is still showing some concerns due to the fact that the market can't take out that $17.45 resistance with the cap holding at $17.60. But more importantly is the fact that the market may actually start to look towards the downside. As you can see here from the technical implications is the fact that the histogram is rolling over and also the stochastic is actually showing a potential downward phase. Now, like before, it did take a little while for it to come through, but we're not too far away. So for those that are trading from a longer side, just be a little bit cautious and keep your stops in the right place. Due to the fact that we do get a rejection from the top side, then the immediate target will come into $16.80. Moving on to gold, the overnight price action briefly displayed solid gains for the week as the market briefly contested the topside resistance of 1,270 to 72 and did print a high of around 72 to 73, as you can see here. Partly the reason from the advance was on the back of a brief US equity decline. And also a weaker US dollar did help fuel the move. However, do note, like silver, the indicators are not fully supportive to this move up. Although we might see some further stabs, either towards 72, which is weaker now on the top side, or towards 79. The market will most probably turn back towards that support seen at 64, which could even drop back to the recent lows of 58 and reassess from there. Well, the Australian dollar does remain weak, and also mainly to the fact that the Aussie-Kiwi cross has put a lot of pressure on the Australian dollar over the last 10 days. Nevertheless, the market is still negative, and you can see by these technicals that I'm looking for a move down towards 73.80.95 and reassess from there, as we could even be looking lower towards 73.15.25. The market will most probably be on its toes today with a private capital expenditure to be released at 11:30 along with retail sales. Now, previously the capex forecast is at 0.4 with the previous release coming in at negative 2.1, with retail sales expected to be slightly firmer with 0.3 with the previous release last month of negative 1%. So as I mentioned, that's at 11:30 today. Any advances, I expect to see good resistance towards 74.75 and a further supply zone towards 75.15.25. Well, the euro overnight managed to gain further ground against the US dollar as the prices, as the US dollar falls victim to further bearishness and falls underneath the index of 97 handle. Now, what is actually seen here is that greater concerns are seen from the figures released overnight in Europe, with the inflation figures coming in at 1.4, well below the previous release of 1.9 and even below 1.5 forecast. So the lower number is seen from from Draghi, who mentioned that weaker inflation figures and also wage growth may require the ECB to continue its asset purchase program, and however is expected to end this December. So if we look at the price action, the market still needs to be contained by this level of 112.80 figure, and while the dollar index remains above 96.80, then we could see a rejection from there. Do note though, the technical indicators are not supporting this move up, so I do expect to see, while this pattern holds, is that eventually we'll see the market break back towards the downside with the immediate support coming in at 111.90 and then beneath there at 111.50 with the next target at 110.70.90 still waiting to be challenged. Well, dollar yen still pretty much struggles to keep its bullish sentiment. After renewed advances in the last 24 hours, the market did fall above the 111 handle after briefly printing a high of 111.21. Now, with the weakness back on the cards, I'm looking for a further move down to look towards 110.45 and still maintaining that bullish foundation coming in at 110.05.15, which I expect to see a recovery from there back up towards the top side, which comes in now at 111.15 to 111.75.80 and reassess from there. Well, the UK price action overnight stabs towards the upside, as you can see here, with the resistance now coming in at 129.20.30. Since the market's printed the low of 127.90, the pound is currently attempting to restore its bullish sentiment and also did catch a slight bullish tone overnight. The outlook, though, is still expected to see the market foul towards the upside, and with the elections only just around the corner in the UK, we could see some further whipness towards the price action, but eventually should see a fall back towards 128.35, and I'll still hold the view down towards a support that comes in at 128.35, as I mentioned minor, 127.65 to 127.10, and reassess from there. So that wraps up my daily video. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead.